That looks so cool. Hi everyone! Today I'm going to do a dirty pour with epoxy and I'm going to try adding some school glue to the resin to see if it helps keep my colors more separated. If you remember, about a year ago I did a resin dirty pour. This was one of the pieces from that video, and it didn't fully turn out the way I wanted it to. The blue resin took over and the colors became too blended, so I'm going to see if the glue hack helps. I'm going to be using J. Diction's epoxy resin, and yeah, let's get started. I'm going to start by mixing up a total of 600 milliliters of epoxy, which is going to be divided into 4 in a few moments for my different colors. This is quite a bit of resin, so keep your fingers crossed for me that this works out. But trying the glue hack was a suggestion I had in the comments of that video, so here we are. I have tried the glue hack a couple of times on my own, and it can be quite messy since it changes the consistency of epoxy quite drastically. It makes the resin thicken up and become quite gloopy, which can be a bit tricky to work with, but at the end of the day, if it gives me the effect I'm looking for in this dirty pour, it's gonna be a good day. Now, for the colors, I'm going to be using Let's Resin's pigment pastes again, and I'm actually just going to stick with the same colors like the previous video. I'm going to use white, purple, and blue. I think using the same colors is going to help me see and be able to compare the differences between the two. I also have my gold leaf at the ready to mix it in clear epoxy, so I'm just going to divide some of this resin into these 3 cups for the white, blue, and purple, and then the rest of the resin I'm going to mix it with the gold leaf. I will be adding some of the white pigment to the blue and the purple as well, just to lighten the colors a little bit. One thing I am contemplating is whether or not I'm going to add a drop of the glue to the clear epoxy. Like I mentioned, the glue thickens up the resin quite a bit, so I'm afraid that if I add it to the clear, any air bubbles that get created as I mix the resin are going to get stuck and then be seen in my pieces. So I'm gonna have a think about it. Be sure to let me know in the comments whether or not you've tried the glue hack for resin and how did you use it. The cool thing about using school glue for resin is that not only can it help you if you mix it in the resin, but it can also help you if you use it on the outside of your cured resin pieces. Another glue hack is if you spread the glue and let it dry on the opposite side of the side you're top coating or doming, it creates a removable layer that you can peel off. So if the resin spills over and drips underneath your pieces, you can just pop that resin right off. It works exactly like the liquid latex hack, and it's a great alternative to latex in case you're allergic. Okay, it's time to add the glue to this resin, and I'm only going to be adding a small drop. I don't want to add too much in case it affects the resin curing in any way. In this instant, less is more, and in a moment, I'm going to show you how this glue changes the consistency of the epoxy. You can actually already see it happening. The resin is starting to thicken up as I'm mixing it. It's crazy how quick it happens. Just look at how gloopy this resin gets. Now I'm going to mix up the 2 other colors, and I have decided I won't be adding glue to the clear gold leaf resin after all. I really don't want any air bubbles getting stuck in the clear. Plus, I am curious to see what happens to the clear epoxy without the glue. I'm wondering if it's going to just end up blending and disappearing into the other colors, so this might be interesting to see what happens. So now I'm going to pour these colored resins into my clear epoxy, and I'm going to pour it towards the front, towards the spout of my mixing cup, and then I'll swirl the resin with my silicone tool. I will speed this part up though because it is taking me so long to just get the resin off of my popsicle stick. This resin is just so sticky. I do want to say that you can do this without the glue. In case anyone is hesitant about mixing the resin with glue, the other way would be to just wait until your epoxy is really thickened up. For example, if I was to wait with this resin I'm using here, I would have to wait a minimum of 40 minutes since J. Diction's resin has a work time of 40 minutes. I'm pretty sure Let's Resin's epoxy also has a 40-minute work time, but depending on how warm your resin is and how quickly it heats up, it could be a lot longer wait. Another option would be to use a 4-hour fast cure resin since that resin tends to be thick from the get-go. Whenever I manage to get my hands on some more fast cure resin, I'll definitely be trying to do a dirty pour with it. But yeah, you don't need the school glue for this. You can just wait, but you do have to have the patience for waiting. All right, so it's now time to fill up these molds and let's see what happens. So I can already see that the clear resin is getting lost in the mix of colors, but at least with this first piece, I do feel like the glue is helping keeping the colors more defined. I do like what I'm seeing. I should have taken a little bit of the clear resin and tested it with a little bit of the glue to see what would have happened, but it is what it is. Sometimes our brains don't think properly when we're feeling rushed. But I definitely will be trying it and be better prepared for next time. Everyone is learning today. That looks so good. That looks so cool. I'm really liking what I'm seeing. If this resin stays put as it cures, these pieces are going to look so pretty. If you'd like to see me do more resin dirty pours, let me know in the comments what color combos you'd like me to try. I think the next time I try this, I want to try doing different shades of blue with silver. I think that would look so pretty right now, especially during the winter time. I have been left with a bit of resin, so I'm just going to quickly fill these other molds so this resin doesn't go to waste. I always prepare a few extra molds and keep them handy for these instances. I do think it's always better to have a little bit too much resin than not have enough because it can be tricky to recreate that shade of resin, especially if you have to work with different amounts of resin. So we've reached the end of the resin in my mixing cup, and as you can see, the marbling isn't as spectacular as in the other pieces, but I finally do now see a bit of that clear resin coming through. All right, so I'm going to let all these pieces cure up and I'll be back in the morning so we can demold them. These pieces are finally fully cured now, so let's see how they've turned out. I did have to give them a bit more time to cure because 24 hours after I poured them, the resin was still a bit soft. I poured these pieces Wednesday and today is Saturday morning, so it's been 2 days. Anyways, up first we have these little pendants I made from the leftover resin and I absolutely love how they've turned out. Next, we have the coaster, and to be honest, there's nothing really special about it. It looks pretty, but since I was at the end of the resin, I didn't get that gorgeous marble effect. Up next, we have this jar lid, which turned out really lovely, but funny story, as I was moving my pieces around, I realized that I actually didn't make the jar part that goes with it. The smaller jar I did make is actually a standalone and doesn't have the neck with the screw-on part. So I'll have to make the jar for the lid another time. But now, for the jars themselves, I honestly love all three. I really do think the glue hack helped. This smaller jar that I'm showing you first is the one that mostly turned out similar to my other pieces from my other dirty pour video. As you can see, it's mostly blue and purple, but I think it's because for whatever reason, the white sunk to the bottom in my mixing cup, so that white didn't come out until later, and I think I just needed more white resin in there. As for these other two jars, This is what I was hoping to achieve with this dirty pour, especially with the third jar that I'm going to show you in a few moments. That one, it's chef's kiss. It's exactly what I wanted. Again, yes, I did lose the clear epoxy, but honestly, I'm not missing it. Clear epoxy who? Getting the clear epoxy to show is going to be something I have to experiment more with, which I'm sure I will be able to get it to work. I probably would have had it if I had added the glue to the clear, but that can be for another day. For now, I'm just really happy with the results I got today. Be sure to let me know your thoughts, and again, if you'd like to see me do more resin dirty pours, drop me some color combinations in the comments section. Before I go, I do want to quickly show you the comparison of my favorite jar to the jar from my other video, and you can just see the difference. The jar with the lid is pretty, but the one I just made, the colors are so much more defined. I hope you enjoyed this video and that you've learned something. If you did, then please smash that like button. If you'd like to see my previous video where I show you what my resin pieces look like years later, then be sure to check out the video on the left. Or if you'd like to see another resin technique I've tried, then be sure to click the video on the right. Thank you all so much for watching. Bye!